Hey y'all, we're back at it. I was not planning on doing a shuffleboard video today. It's Sunday. I usually don't do these on Sundays, but I'm realizing that I have a lot of travel with friends and family coming up, and I wanted to get a good stab at getting something done. I might not have the chance to work on this, especially with my schedule coming up. I also have been thinking about something else. Last night I finished a video, or yesterday I did a video, and I've got this kind of thing that's itching at me. And I want to talk about different reasons to build a feature and why I'm going to do what I'm going to do today. I generally advocate for this sort of, as you've seen, like a list of features that you want to work on, prioritizing them in sort of a single order so that you always know what the most important thing to be working on is. And orienting those around milestones that make sense for your business. So for us, we need to find product market fit. We need to establish that this thing we're building is a useful thing. And so all the things that I might want to build, for example, but don't fit the product profile, the user profile I think I'm building for, got to be demoted. All the things I'd want to build for but are part of a launch get grouped and demoted. All the things I want to build for but are part of payments get grouped and demoted, because I don't think that's fundamentally what I need to do to really flesh out my product discovery to see if I have built a thing that's useful for a specific group of people. There are a lot of good reasons to prioritize and deprioritize features. You can prioritize them based off of what's going to add a lot of delight for your users, what's going to alleviate pain for people, what's in line with your brand, what's in line with your values as a company. What do I need to do in order to do one of those features? A prerequisite that's blocking. If you're more diabolical, you might prioritize features to outdo a competitor, or that's not really diabolical, but you know what I mean. You might do it just to make money. One of the things that I try to work with my clients and talk to them a lot about is to identify features that are lowering the risk, lowering the stakes for your product. What can you do, not to build something, but what can you build to get information about a technology or about your market? Really, it's to learn more about either your product or your market so that you can fit them together better. I think this learning kind of work is actually really important, because if you go into a thing and you say, I know we can build this probably, and you just dive in ahead, you could be investing a lot of time and money and effort into something that isn't going to work out. And that is bad, because I've been in situations in startups where we've invested a lot of time in something, and then too late do we realize, this isn't actually as feasible as we thought. We thought it should be, but some unknowns crept up. And had we been paying attention a little bit more, I think we would have known to do a test. Sometimes in engineering, this is called a spike, where you just build a feature. You're not going to save or use it. It's not production level. It's just going in there and making it. In design, we do a lot of prototyping, right? And we've done pretty well with that. But in engineering, we haven't done any of those spikes. And I think what I'm considering today is a bit of a product spike. There are a couple features on this roadmap that we put together that I think are pretty critical to making this experience work eventually, to really hit the bigger vision for what this should be. That I was thinking of building in order to support the video that I want to make, to see if I can get people to be excited about value. Obviously, I want to build them for customers as a feature, but I think maybe a good reason to work on them now, just a little bit, not even finish them, just to get them started, would be to see how tough it's going to be to build them. Because I've never built features like this before. And I don't really know if this is going to be feasible, if this is going to require a big investment on my part, if I'm going to need outside help for this, if I should avoid this, if I shouldn't do this at all, if I build it and it works and it turns out just doesn't feel good to use and a terrible UX. In design, when I'm building like a landing page or something, you guys saw how that went. I focused on, just putting something together and then testing it and then iterating on copy. And then once we got copy down, one key illustration that illustrated the product value. And a little bit of type changes. And then you'll see later, we're going to take some of the branding stuff we've done, we're going to take a few little visual tweaks, and we're going to take a pretty good landing page and turn it into something great. I know how that process goes. It's not a big risk to get stock illustrations and adapt them to your use case. I'm never going to be in a situation where I can't just go online and figure out a typography situation that looks decent enough within a few minutes, because those are low risk things. This is higher risk. Building features with a little bit more complexity, they are higher risk. They don't always work out, and they are opportunities to go down big rabbit holes that, even if you know they're theoretically possible, might be beyond your skill, might be beyond the resources you have to dedicate to them. Those can be massive risks for startups. It's a big deal. So I just want to shine some light on this area. Again, not building the feature, but I just want to see if this would work, basically. And the feature I want to work on is the thing that really makes shuffleboard. The sense of being able to rearrange, group, stack Post-it notes essentially on top of each other. This is something that is key to the whiteboard sticky note process. You have to be able to move things around. You have to be able to group things and sort of take a bunch of raw input and process it into sort of an ordered, sorted, grouped thing that will create that report. Functionally, we made reports last time work, but can we get the experience, the value of people's sort of jumbled idea mess into a report that is ordered and makes sense? To do that, we need to be able to sort and group and maybe filter or stuff like that, these cards. And the reason that this is a difficult, risky feature to build, I think, is that it involves complex user interface interactions. Drag and drop, basically, right? Drag and drop is part of our modern user interface design, toolkit language, right? Because we have touchscreens, we have multi-touch. There's a lot of drag and drop going on, and that's good. But it ain't like as easy as building a form on the web. It is complex, and it's one of those things where if you're gonna do it, it's kind of got to be good. You don't want crappy drag and drop. You'd be surprised how many people have trouble with drag and drop. Drag and drop is not like a super simple thing if you're not used to using computers. And I don't think our market is pretty tech savvy, because we're targeting people who are innovative, usually technology companies who probably have a fair degree of technical competence. But I think people who are in technology tend to overestimate the technological competence that the people they're building for have. Most people are just normal people. I mean, they're not normal, but they're just people who have normal abilities with technology. They don't get excited about computers for computers' sake. They just want something that they can use. And they don't really want it to be hard to use. It's really as simple as that. And drag and drop can be difficult for people like that. It just causes issues. If you drag and then the whole screen starts scrolling and you let go, you don't know where it landed. It's a little rough. So I'm just going to dive in today. I know there's some libraries for drag and drop in React. I'm going to play with a few, maybe start a few branches in our code editor and see which ones feel right. There's also a couple different things going on here. There's obviously, we talked about putting things into columns, maybe a grid, but there's also combining cards, which might mean dragging cards on top of each other. There's selecting cards and what happens when you click a card instead of dragging it. There's a menu we have on cards right now that I don't want to be triggered if you tap that. I don't want that to trigger a drag. There's also this when you put these features together, there could be issues. Yeah, maybe drag works for reordering, and maybe you could drag things into columns, and maybe you could drag them on top of each other, but the libraries to do all those things aren't compatible. So we got to find out a little bit. So today we're just going to explore dragging and dropping and sorting and reordering, stacking, etc. in JavaScript, React specifically. So let's get into it. Open up my browser here. Let's open up our code editor, because I know we're going to want to try out some of this stuff. I don't care. I don't care. Up and running. All right, so React, drag, drop. Now, I happen to know there's a library called react-dnd. I've already heard about this. This is a library that's like under the hood, the best drag and drop library. Does all the cool stuff. I guess it has a separate thing if we want touch support. That doesn't exist. Okay. Good to know. The other thing I happen to know, I've just looked at this in the past for other projects. It can be, here we go, perfect. It can be intimidating if you've never used it before. So one question for me is, do I want to really invest in learning how to use this thing really well? I don't know. So this might be one thing to try out, right? This is like, maybe we'll do some reading on this later. I'm a little concerned that this could just be a lot. Especially the touch support. Let me get my iPad because if we can't do touch, hold on. If we can't do touch, that's a problem. So I'm just gonna go react-dnd touch example. This is a mobile, we really want this to be a mobile friendly thing. All right, let's pull up some examples. Fair touch. That doesn't work. Wow, it really doesn't work on touch. That's kind of crazy because that's the whole point of drag and drop. Very strange. All right, here's a multi-backend. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, that's good. So there's backends, I guess, that do it. I guess I should report an issue with the touch backend. All right, I think we know react-dnd is a possibility. I have a feeling that some of these other libraries are going to be built on top of react-dnd, if I remember correctly. React Beautiful DND. I'm tempted to think that there's something else out there that we could use to just get this up and running, because essentially our use case is roughly a Kanban board, and I know there are, let's just look for that React drag drop Kanban. I just know that there's going to be like some libraries that support this. React, drag and drop, simple. React Dragula. Drop zone is not what I want. One-dimensional layout. Oh, Trello-like layout will work. Oh, maybe one-dimensional as in it's not in a grid, but it could have multiple columns. That could be good. Doesn't work for grids. All right, let's start writing some of this down. We need to document what we've learned already so far. Hard to learn and requires custom touch backend. Whatever backend is in this context, I'm not really sure. React beautiful DND. Touch, question mark. Easy to use, only lists, not grids. Touch, question mark. React grid layout. Very ugly API. Lots of calculations have to be done on our own. Oof. Don't want that. Grids. I don't think we really, do we want a grid? I don't think we want to put post-its anywhere. I think that we would just be a virtual whiteboard if we did that. I mean, maybe there could be something fancy where if you put a post-it, like everything moves out from around it. I don't know how that would work in a grid. This is not about placing things in space. This is about placing things in groups. And I just don't think the use cases I'm thinking of require such special ordering. If you want to do that, you should just use a virtual whiteboard. And I'm not building that. And if by the way, if it turns out that the use cases that people need require virtual whiteboards, then that is okay. And I'll build another startup. But I'm not building one of those. React grid layout, because there's too many of them already. React grid layout. Do we? API, apparently easy to use, apparently rough API. We haven't actually figured this out for ourselves. But I don't think we, oh, you probably can't see this because my face is covering it, but I'm saying React grid layout, apparently rough API, but I don't think we really need a grid. You know what, I'll just do this so you can see, hopefully. react-dnd, almost all use cases, very powerful, easy to start, gets very tricky. we doing? That beautiful dandy. Let's open the code. Okay, so it's a Kanban board. You're like moving things between things, like in Trello or whatever. He's using react-dnd in the HTML5 backend, not the touch backend, but that's okay. Basically, you make objects draggable, you make containers droppable, and then you put a wrapper around everything else. That's familiar enough React patterns. So you import all that stuff and you give it a backend, whatever that is. A board is represented by a structure below. Okay, so for each channel, you create a column. And we give it a label and tasks. And for each task, we only show the task for that channel, and we show the item. Make sense? Roughly. So we got to do that column and item. So the column, render, we're wrapping a div with a drop target. Column, drop target. And we are passing some stuff in here, and it's connect is over, can zip, don't really know what that stuff is. Box target. Draggable item, begin drag. I guess these are things that we're gonna give when they're dropped. Data about this thing that we'll share when things happen. Okay, so that's cool. That's kind of how you connect them. It was a well-written article. I just feel like it wasn't finished. What happens with the parent? How does that all happen? Well, they really made it look like Trello. I'm curious to see. Wow. Very nice. Maybe a little bit much. Because it's very Trello-y. I mean, I'm worried there's going to be just too much style, too many styles here, but maybe not. So declarative. I'm worried. Yeah, we just passed the data. I need to. I think this is literally just a board if you don't want to worry about anything, but I want to React components. You know what I mean? Yeah, we can't use that API. Ooh, ooh. This is beautiful D&D. This is my my hope that this will work because the article recommended it. We're not doing a table. So this is what they mean by one-dimensional, because it's not a grid. It could be any direction. Whoa, what? I don't know what that's about, but okay, this is the closest to what we really want, you know. You could even imagine this is really silly. This is not helping us, but I'm just having fun with this for a second. So let me have this. Yeah, this is actually going to be harder than I thought. What I'm doing is just seeing how it would look for us. Hey, look. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of this stuff that we do not want. But this is how it could look in shuffleboard. We've got cards that we're dragging around. Okay. Complex vertical list. That doesn't seem to work that well, but I don't think we're going to be doing that. All right, let's try this out on the iPad. React beautiful D&D. You cannot see this at all. Board. So far so good. Hey. Oh, dragging between works if you're careful. A little buggy. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Gotta hold it down a little bit extra. So if I hold it down all the way, I can move. But if I hold it down just a little bit, it's only going vertical. That's probably good enough. You know, I want it to be just so good all the time, though. Well, I think we should try doing this. We should try implementing this. Just get a feel for it. We'll try a couple, look at those other libraries. And then maybe we'll try react-dnd, like the real deal. Maybe we'll just give it a shot and see what we're working with, because maybe that's our destiny after all. Oh, this is, sorry, not working. Drag and drop, so simple it hurts. Dragula. Okay. we're too simple. It actually does hurt. Just because we need these multiple columns, right? That's our whole point. You probably want to use something more stable like react-dnd. Appreciate the honesty. Weekly downloads 4. I hate to say it, but that's enough for me to avoid it. I think we probably know which two we need to start working with. It's Dan Abramoff. Did he write react-dnd? Oh my god. This guy's a genius. Does react-beautiful-dnd use react-dnd under the hood? Very curious. Combining items, that's what we want. Ooh, that will be good. Yeah, it looks like it is using that. Excuse me. Well, maybe it doesn't use react-dnd. I don't know. Ooh. That's cool. You know what? Does one axis mean we can't even do two columns, though? That could be a big limitation. I mean, the thing with react-dnd, now that I'm reading the react-beautiful-dnd features, is that I'm wondering if this is going to be like, we're gonna have to build a lot of stuff that was already built for us in this other library. Touch seems to work. So having to build a lot of features by hand isn't necessarily bad. That gives us a bit of a moat. It means it'll be, so it'll be like hard for people to build shuffleboard. course, we're recording the entire process on video, so maybe you're somebody who's a competitor years in the future trying to torpedo me by watching these videos and copying exactly what I do. All right, that's all the time we will spend on you. Let's see about this grid, because if we need drag, drop, grid, if we need a grid, then this, whatever this, all right, maybe, I don't know what library they were talking about, but there's not an obvious one here. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, we got a lot going on. Can I drag out? Yep. Oh, I can do halfway. Oh boy. Well, shit. Maybe we need this. Because my concern for react-dnd, or for beautiful, whatever. Where's the beautiful one? This one. Let's get back to those demos, because our shuffleboard cards are going to be side by side. I don't want us scrolling down all the time. It just doesn't. I'm kind of nervous that this is not going to work for us because of that. Shit. That's funny. Well, shit. That means if we put a group together, we're just gonna have a board that that has a single column. Ooh, I don't want to use this, but I don't know if I can. That could be a big issue. I mean, this is not as nice looking, but we're gonna do our own styles anyway. I wonder if we don't need this. Because I don't want to break. I want to scroll horizontally, frankly. I want the groups to scroll horizontally. Will it overflow into the next column? Probably not. I think it's going to go in whatever column we want. I'm not sure this is it either, because I don't know if things will flow. I think I'm looking for something a little different than both of these things. Shit. See this width stuff? I don't think this is what we want either. Shit. This is hard. Future competitors, don't bother. It's too hard. Oh, hold up. This is what we wanted. All right, we'll come back to that. So I mean, Atlassian is doing this. HubSpot is the other one. These are companies who are building real products with production requirements. I'm assuming react-dnd is pretty production solid. Question mark. React Beautiful DND by Atlassian. That's a pro for me. Grid layout. In use at Metabase. What did they say? Metabase, HubSpot, etc. Oh shit! Atlassian owns Trello. Maybe Beautiful DND is what runs Trello. That'd be cool. Or at least Jira. Production ready. In use of Metabase. Okay. I think we do need a grid actually. 1D lists don't overflow? Question mark. Okay. Overflow. But this, I think, is based off of a model of a single fixed width canvas. You know what I mean? Like, what they're saying is, what the grid one is doing, I think, is they're saying, this is your width. You can put things here, or 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 here. And then when it does, responsive stuff, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but like, you're placing things in space. I guess there are these columns. Hold on, we have to figure out what this thing is. Is this the same library we were just looking at? React Grid DND example. Let's look up what the hell React Grid DND is, because that might be what we want. Can we just use React Beautiful drag and drop? Overflow. I want somebody to show me how to do this, because I'd really rather do it. that article gave me a lot more confidence that this is a good library and we should try it. So maybe we'll try like spikes in each of these. Isn't that beautiful D&D? Already look for that. Whoa, what the hell? That was wild. I think that array of droppables idea is bad, but I'm curious to see what they do. Hey, that does it. But I can't sort between them. That's the point of that. React sortable HOC. So it supports multiple lists, but it can't seem to drag between lists. React grid layout. That's what. Nope, different one. React grid layout. Is this the one we were just looking at? Yes. React app. React layout with beautiful React beautiful D&D. Okay. Pretty rough experience here. It's not what we want. Yeah, not. Yeah. That was a media query thing. React grid D&D. Where did this library come from? And I guess a Google search. And why is it perfect for what I'm trying to do? 268 downloads. Oh my gosh. It seems to work. Is this what I want? React grid D&D. Moment of truth here. Ooh. Oh. Wow, that's like super quick. Works great. What? Dark horse. But see, here's the thing. This could have issues with combining cards together, right? We wanted to do this combining stuff. You can't combine and drop cards on top of each other with this necessarily. Maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, it seems like it doesn't have a ton of Support, is it built with react-dnd? If not, is the fact that it's, is it going to get messed up? I don't know. I'm nervous about this library. What if it doesn't work good? Specified height or flex. I'd rather not do that. But we can just listen to the height and adjust it. Maybe. Okay, this could be cool. Let's give these a little emoji ratings. I'm going to put a watch on it, which means a clock for later. Beautiful in D&D would be a grid issue. Shrug. This is stupid. I can't pick emojis for all these. It's too complicated. Can't boil it down to an emoji. Okay, we got react-dnd. Beautiful D&D. Only list, not grids is the big thing I need to remember about that. React grid layout. That's what I need to know about that. React sortable HOC. Seems a little weak, I'm gonna say. Can't drag item between lists, that's a big deal. React grid D&D. Great demo. Quick dragging, grids flow nicely. Low adoption, stable, question mark? I would say issues with absolute risk, absolute positioning of grids. What are the things we're looking for in one of these libraries? I mean, we definitely want like touch support. We want drag between lists, gotta have that. We want grid or pseudo grid. It's like a item wrapping is what they called it in whatever beautiful D&D was. Let me look if there's anything beautiful, React, beautiful D&D wrapping. I didn't know I did similar search, but
up to now, we have only looked at vertical reordering in our application. Are being positioned left to right. We can remove the width of our container component because we don't need that anymore. We can also get rid of this flat of 40 pixels and make it now print out the first character. I'm going to give our container a width of 40 pixels, space at the by default. A droppable assumes that it is ordered vertically. By changing the direction prop to horizontal, you are able to have lists that are sorted in the horizontal plane. we go back to our example now, we can see that now we are able to have horizontal reordering using React Beautiful D&D. And this will also work with keyboard. Change the border color to red. I'm also going to bump up the border size a little bit. When we come back to our application and we focus on a task now, we won't get that blue focus box that we had before.
Keyboard ordering would be real nice. The thing react-dnd said was like ghost, like show where it's gonna be dropped. I forget what that was called. I'm gonna say responsive enough to width. I don't really care that much. We could probably, I mean, people aren't gonna be dragging this around all over the place. Like we could probably just hack it if we need to get that going. It's been an hour? Jesus. Time flies when you're nose deep and your nose is in GitHub. Shit. It's just how it goes. Still not rapping. Okay guys, so I'm gonna take a break, get a little snack. I'm gonna save what I've got so far. We've done some great research on this, and I'm glad we did, because we definitely found out some things we needed to know. Have I copied this issue? Because this is an important issue. This is a bummer for us, for sure. So this is just demonstrating how it doesn't work when you just try to do it. jQuery UI. We don't have to use React. We could use mother effing jQuery. Oh, shit. You know what? I'm getting nostalgic just thinking about it. And if that's what it does, oh man. Displays a good, oh my God. What if we use jQuery? Oh my God, we could. I mean, you don't have to use React for this kind of thing. We should, but we don't have to. drag, drop, sort, JavaScript, library, sortable JS, draggable JS. Wait, I remember this. Oh, yeah. That's cool. Neato. Wow. It's a pretty impressive demo. Don't know what's going on with that. Well, I have no idea what the hell's going on here. Oh, Shopify made it. I'm very wary of vanilla because I've heard there's all these browser support issues. You know? What? This works well. Should we do vanilla? That's crazy. Or is it? Paste. See what happens. Nope. Yeah, I don't really want to deal with the touch support issue. It's very hip documentation, but I'm not sure I can use it. It's just pretty hard to know what the hell's going on right now. Good layout. That's not what we want. Alright, not draggable. That just seems super buggy. See how it's like flashing and stuff when you move shit? I don't trust this one. It just is janky. Maybe I need a better reason, but I don't feel like it. Okay. Let's try this one on touch. Ooh, it works. Works just fine. Okay, so sortable might be doable. Oh, jQuery UI. It's a possibility. Touch was what we want. Multiple lists. Grid. We want a grid. Bonus would be keyboard. And so that sortable one actually is the only one that really is knocking these out of the park, besides maybe react-dnd. Also, jQuery UI is doing it. Seems crazy to use jQuery UI for this. Grid works? Question mark. jQuery UI. Do you work on mobile? Holy shit. I kind of want to use jQuery UI just so I can tell people it's jQuery. Nope, you don't. Does it not work with touch in general? Oh, it's a whole extended line now. So do not use these under this line. These are question marks. Sortable might work. I'm gonna have another thing that says probably not. We'll just use this. These are the ones I'm not really considering right now. Vanilla, jQuery. This one I'm considering. This is low on my list. React grid layout. I'm going to put them as unlikely. So sortable worked. It seems to have what we need. It's not React. Not React originally, but has React adapter. React grid D&D, again, demo works, but absolute positioning, low adoption, what's the deal there? React Beautiful D&D would love to use something with so much support and it looks so good and has so many features. I don't think we can use it if it's just these vertical lists. I just don't see how that's gonna happen. Like, I hate to promote it so far down, but that sucks. I don't think it makes sense because with this board, these boards, you can't just put like a single column of stuff. Let me do this real quick. You can't just put a single column of stuff. It's just not going to make sense. Look, if we go to our shuffleboard here, yada, yada, yada. I was looking at this last night. This stuff, these columns, if we do columns here, you can't just have a big row. You can't just put a big list. It makes no sense. You have to have them overflow. You have to fill the space with these. This is a live tool on a screen. I just can't. Oh, I'm so annoyed that this won't work for us. Bummer. Okay, react-dnd. Okay, a couple things before. I got to take a break soon and get some food. This video is very long, but I just want to see how, because this is probably, we have two backups that are like, might work, but I'm not sure how they're going to deal with like, you know, these other future things of dragging things on top of each other, etc. React-dnd might be the key if it's really good. So let's look up some things. Let's look up some tutorials for how you would do stuff in react-dnd. For example, we know there's a touch backend we can use. React-dnd drag between lists, for example. see how you can do that. A good place to start would be their actual examples. Okay. Why is this a stress test? Oh, okay. I don't get what native means. I don't really care to let me see, nesting. I do want to maybe drag on drop targets. Good to know. Drop effects. Okay. Okay, so here's where we're at. What we wanted was touch support, which I think react-dnd can provide, dragging between multiple lists. A pseudo grid, item wrapping. Let's look up react-dnd grid. wrap. I just want to make sure there's like an example of this. It's so low level, I'm sure there is, but I just want to make sure. So what is react-dnd? Well, that one should be supported. Responsive enough. Oh, keyboard support. I'm gonna miss from beautiful DND. Let's look at our beautiful DND list and see what features that it says it has that we would need to rebuild if we didn't use something like this. Maybe we could actually, we could always try to submit a PR for this. So nice. I just want to use it. Just curious what happens if we do some weird flexbox wrapping here. Not worth it, we know it breaks. And it's not supported, so it doesn't really matter. If it did work, it wouldn't be a good idea to use it. Flexible item size, that's a big one. I mean, we don't want to make sure that if people make different lengths of cards or something, they shouldn't all have to be the exact same size. Auto scrolling, that could be a big deal. Okay. Yeah, auto scrolling's a big deal. I'm not sure how much this is relevant for us because I don't want to have lists out of the way. I want to scroll horizontally, or I come on. So that might not be as big a deal. I could also just convince myself that that it's fine to have multiple, lists. I can't imagine the UI that would make that work really well, but maybe. I want all these features. What is that song? Did I see it in a meme?
This episode of the React Podcast is brought to you by react-training.com.
And a bunch of other stuff that you might be familiar with as a developer. Alex is joining us today to talk about React Beautiful DND, a performance and a really elegant solution to drag and drop in React. Before we dive into React Beautiful DND, I kind of wanted to hear about your role at Atlassian, what you're doing there, and kind of what your team is doing.
Yeah, cool. So as you mentioned, I'm a principal engineer at Atlassian. I kind of work exclusively in the front end, which has been great. And my role is I kind of work on a platform team. So what we do is we build components and utilities that are shared across lots of our different products here at Atlassian. For the kind of last year, I've been working almost full time on React Beautiful DND, which has been such a pleasure to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It took him a year to build this thing, and he's better at this than I am. Do we really want to reinvent the wheel on this?
it's really very lucky, very fortunate. But my wider team is sort of responsible for building sort of the components that you would see in really every interface in almost every product. So things like buttons, drop downs, tooltips, all that sort of thing.
Cool. Is that the Atlas kit?
Yeah, that's the Atlas Kit project. It's actually open source, so you could use it in your own products if you wanted to. Yeah.
Now, how long has Atlassian been using React, and kind of what was the inspiration? What's the role that React plays at Atlassian?
Yeah, so I think I was on one of the first projects to use React at Atlassian. This was back in late 2015. I was looking back through my emails in preparation for today. And yeah, so that was sort of when it started, and it kind of happened pretty organically. Like, there wasn't a big, this is what we're going to do. It was more, I think people just sort of caught the vision of what React was and what it was trying to do. And more products just kind of started adopting it.
So what was kind of the core front-end framework that was being used before React?
Yeah, so most of our products are actually distinct code bases. So that there was a bit of variance, but generally some sort of backbone marionette stack, something like that. Our backbone was pretty consistent throughout. Some were Angular, I think. Some of the smaller ones may have been Angular, but yeah, generally backbone. Yeah.
And before React's Atlas Kit, did you have a component library? Was it in CSS, or did you have kind of other ways of bundling JavaScript and CSS together?
Yeah, so that sort of predates my time on the team that I'm on. But yeah, we did have and build really exciting
libraries. So I'm curious, what makes React Beautiful DND different? Why should someone consider this library?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, just the asset, it's not for everyone. And that'll hopefully become clear as I explain a bit more. So React Beautiful D is a higher level abstraction for drag and drop, and it's specifically focused around lists and lists of lists and sort of connected lists. So the idea that we're trying to push is within that subset of the drag and drop space, we're trying to make drag and drop more relatable for people. So drag and drop is one of those just amazing interactions in software that is just so expressive and so relatable for people. Like, we're always moving things around in the physical space. Like, I can move my cup from one part of my desk to another. Like, that is a very human interaction. So what we've sort of been trying to push is a drag and drop experience that is more physical, more grounded sort of in physical metaphors, with the idea that hopefully we can...
Mixed feelings right now. I mean, dragging and dropping things, look, here's my iPad. I can drag and drop Google Maps around. This is what we're trying to basically do. But that, that's not we're not inventing the wheel here. This is not some breaking news in computer land. And I broke my freaking thing because it's hard. Drag and drop is hard though, and I really want to take advantage of the work that the people have been doing. I think I have a pretty focused use case. What I'm trying to build is pretty straightforward. You have you're dragging and dropping around on a grid. I'm going to make some food for myself. I'm going to think about what I want to do next. But my thought is that maybe I'll play some of this podcast, maybe not. I think I know enough to say this. Drag and drop is hard. There are libraries that support pieces of it. I have hope that react-dnd could be a really good baseline, raw, abstraction for me to work from. And I'm tempted to try it out and see if that doesn't work really well for me. So my thinking is that I have some of these other libraries that might work, but I don't want to invest a ton of time in them if it turns out that I can just get what I was going to get with them anyway from react-dnd with the touch backend, and then I can build on that. And if ever one day, I got to watch that issue, React Beautiful DND. If that issue ever comes through and somebody's fixed it and this just works, then I'll probably just strip out everything custom I've ever built and throw this in there, because I think this, for the most part, does pretty much things that I need, with the exception. Let's also do this real quick. React-dnd. I want to see what their top issues are. Open issues. For most reactions. I don't really need to worry about this. This is the big issue. The big one. I want to subscribe to these notifications. Cool. That's what I came here to do. I just also want to see real quick. If there's any issues here that are at the top of this list that would prevent me from wanting to work with this project. I don't think that's relevant to me. Hey, look, it's in Asana. let's look at an example of react-dnd. I know I keep saying I'm going to stop, but it's been 2 hours. I'm very curious to see if I can get this working with react-dnd.